Sometimes the deepest loneliness hides behind the greatest fortunes, and the most unexpected cure can come from the hand of someone we least imagine. This is the story of how a simple act of innocence was able to tear down the walls of a heart that believed itself forgotten. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Tales of Kindness. We post videos every day. Give the video a like if you enjoy this story, and leave us a comment telling us where you're from and what time you're listening. The millionaire James Dalton had already grown accustomed to the worst pain a human being can feel, the pain of existing without being seen. But that night, while everyone avoided him out of fear, shame, or pity, Mia, a charming little girl and daughter of Anna Thompson, a humble cleaner, crossed the brightly lit ballroom, stopped in front of his wheelchair, extended her small hand, and made a request that would forever change the destinies of 3 people. Our stories have traveled far. Where are you watching from today? Share it with us in the comments. James Dalton knew exactly what it meant to be invisible in a room full of people. At his age, he'd learned that his wheelchair acted as an invisible barrier, a wall separating him from the rest of the world. People avoided him as if his condition were contagious, as if a simple greeting could taint their perfect lives. That night, in the glass-walled ballroom of the Museum of Modern Art in New York City, the situation was no different. The annual Dalton Foundation Gala brought together the elite. Men in impeccable suits chatted about business deals. Women displayed jewelry worth more than an entire apartment. And James navigated the room with a neutral expression, pretending not to notice the pitying glances, the fake smiles, and the discomfort etched on faces around him. He stopped near the window, gazing at the city lights below. The lights twinkled as always, indifferent to the emptiness he felt inside. "James, so glad to see you here." He turned his chair and found himself facing Patricia Lake, a socialite who attended every elite event. Her smile was too wide, too forced. "Good evening, Patricia," he replied politely. "We need to take a photo together for my Instagram, you know how it is." James knew the game well. Patricia wanted to appear beside him, showing her followers she was inclusive, modern, and aware. But when the photographer approached, she hesitated. "Oh, you know what? I think it won't frame well. The chair takes up too much space, sorry, dear." And she simply walked away, leaving him alone again. James showed no reaction. He'd learned to hide the pain long ago. Each rejection was a silent wound he kept to himself. Minutes later, Emily Carter approached. She was the daughter of an important politician, always surrounded by aides. "James, we need to talk about that project in the West Side," she said. But her eyes avoided his. They fixed on some point above his head, as if he weren't really there. "Can we schedule a meeting next week?" he suggested. "Oh, sure. My assistant will get in touch." But both knew it would never happen. Emily was already looking away, seeking an excuse to leave. The string quartet began playing a waltz, and couples formed in the center of the ballroom. James watched it all with a familiar sense of exclusion. He'd never be invited to dance, never be seen as a whole man. To those people, he was just a millionaire in a wheelchair, someone who evoked pity or discomfort, never genuine interest. A waiter passed by, offering champagne. James took a glass more to occupy his hands than out of desire to drink. The golden liquid sparkled under the lights, but to him, it had no taste. "Mr. Dalton, what a pleasure to have you here," said George Simmons, a real estate entrepreneur. He spoke too loudly, as if James were deaf in addition to being paralyzed. "The event is wonderful, isn't it? You can speak normally, George." "I hear just fine," James replied. The man looked embarrassed and soon made an excuse to leave. James sighed. It was always the same. People didn't know how to act around him. They treated him like a child or a fragile object that might break at any moment. He started heading toward the exit. He'd fulfilled his social role by appearing at his own foundation's event. Now he just wanted to return to the silence of his penthouse in Manhattan. But that's when something changed. A small girl appeared in the middle of the ballroom. She was about 5 years old, with curly hair tied in a simple bow and a plain dress that contrasted with the gala attire around her. The girl looked at everything with curious eyes, enchanted by the lights, the music, the movement of people, and then her eyes found James. He waited for the usual reaction. Children often got scared by the wheelchair or asked embarrassing questions that left their parents flustered. But this girl just smiled a genuine, radiant smile that lit up her whole face. She started walking toward him with small but determined steps. James froze, unsure what to expect. The girl stopped right in front of him and tilted her head, studying him curiously. "Mister," she said in a sweet, clear voice, "do you want to dance with me?" The world stopped. The entire ballroom froze. Glasses suspended in mid-air, conversations cut off mid-sentence, eyes fixed on that improbable scene. A poor little girl, clearly the child of some staff member, standing before the millionaire James Dalton, asking him to dance. James couldn't breathe. His throat tightened, words trapped somewhere between shock and emotion. It had been so long since anyone at all, approached him naturally, without pity, without discomfort, without interest in his money. You want to dance with me?" he managed to ask, his voice weaker than intended. The girl nodded enthusiastically, her curls bouncing around her face. "Yes, the music is so pretty. Do you like music?" "I do. Yes." She extended her small hand, waiting for him to take it. James looked at that hand as if it were the most precious thing in the world. With trembling fingers, he reached out his own. When her fingers touched his, something in his chest tightened. "My name is Mia, and yours?" "James." "James," she repeated, testing the name on her tongue. "It's nice. Can I call you Uncle Jimmy?" No one had ever given him a nickname. No one had that intimacy with him. "You can." Mia started pulling him by the hand, making the chair turn gently. She didn't know how to waltz properly, but her movements had an innocent grace more genuine than any rehearsed choreography. She twirled around the chair, laughing, her eyes shining with pure joy. James felt a smile form on his lips, a real smile from some deep place he'd forgotten existed. "You're really good at this," he said, noticing his voice was lighter. "My mom says I'm a dancer, but I've never taken lessons." "Have you?" The question was so innocent, so free of malice, that it didn't hurt as it should have. Mia truly wanted to know, without ulterior motives. "No, I never have." "Then we're learning together." From the other side of the ballroom, a woman in a cleaning uniform came running, her face pale with fright. She was young, about 29, with tired but pretty features. Mia, come here now." The girl stopped twirling and looked at her mother guiltily. "But I was just dancing, Mum." The woman reached them, nearly tripping in her haste. Her eyes were wide with panic. "Mr. Dalton, I apologize 1,000 times. I told her to stay in the kitchen, but she slipped away. Please, don't report this to the company. I need this job. I swear it won't happen again." James looked at the woman and saw the fear stamped on her face, fear of losing her job, of not being able to pay the bills, of not supporting her daughter. A real fear he knew well, even from a completely different world. "What's your name?" he asked gently. "Anna. Anna Thompson. Anna, your daughter did nothing wrong, on the contrary." He looked at Mia, who watched everything with curious eyes. "She gave me the best moment I've had in a long time." Anna blinked, confused, as if she couldn't process the words. "Sir, take her back to the kitchen. It's fine, and don't worry, I'm not reporting anything to anyone." The relief on Anna's face was immediate. She took Mia's hand firmly. "Thank you, sir. Thank you so much." Mia waved to James as she was led away. "Bye, Uncle Jimmy. It was really nice dancing with you. Bye, Mia." He was left alone again, but something had changed. The weight on his chest was a little lighter. For the first time in years, he didn't feel completely invisible. The people around him resumed their conversations, but the whispers were evident. Some looked at him curiously, others judgmentally. Patricia Lake rolled her eyes and commented something to her friend nearby. George Simmons shook his head as if he'd witnessed something improper, but James didn't care. In that moment, those people's opinions meant nothing, because a 5-year-old girl had done something no adult in that room had the courage to do. She'd treated him like a normal person, someone worthy of attention, affection, an invitation to dance. He spent the rest of the event in silence, but his mind was far away. He kept thinking about Mia, her spontaneous smile, her small hand holding his without fear or hesitation. When he finally returned home, it was past midnight. The penthouse was silent, as always, expensive furniture, impeccable decor, but empty of life, empty of human warmth. James went to the window and looked at the city below. The city never fully slept. There were always lights on, Cars in the streets, people living their lives. He thought of Anna, working late to provide for her daughter, thought of Mia, probably sleeping in some humble place, dreaming of music and dances, and for the first time in a long time, James felt something he'd given up on, feeling hope. 2 days later, the cleaning company's phone rang with an unusual request. James Dalton wanted to hire a specific employee to work in his penthouse. Her name was Anna Thompson. The manager nearly fell out of her chair. Clients never made specific requests. Usually, they just hired the service and let the company decide who to send. But this was James Dalton, one of the richest men in the city. If he wanted Anna, it would be. Anna was mopping an office floor when she got the call. "Anna, you need to go to a new address tomorrow in Manhattan, special client." She felt a tightness in her chest. Manhattan was where the millionaires lived. Huge homes, luxury penthouses, people from a world completely different from hers. "What's the client's name?" she asked, though something inside her knew the answer. James Dalton. Anna went silent for a few seconds. Had he changed his mind? Was he going to complain about Mia interrupting the event? Her heart raced. "Any problem, Anna?" "No, none. I'll go." That night, she barely slept. She tossed in the bed of the small room she shared with Mia, imagining 1,000 different scenarios. Maybe he wanted to talk personally about what happened. Maybe he wanted to ensure it never happened again. In the morning, Anna dressed Mia with extra care, put her in a clean dress, packed a backpack with crayons and paper to keep her occupied. "We're going to a different house today," she explained while braiding her daughter's hair. "It's very important you stay quiet." "Okay, no running off like the other day." Mia nodded seriously. "I promise, Mum. I'll be really quiet." But when they arrived at the building in Manhattan, Mia couldn't contain her excitement. The building was enormous, with a lobby full of security guards, mirrored elevators, hallways with artwork on the walls. "Mum, is it a castle?" "No, honey, it's just a building." The doorman checked their names on the list and allowed entry. Anna held Mia's hand tightly as they rode up to the top floor. When the elevator doors opened, there was just one door in front of them. The penthouse occupied the entire floor. Anna took a deep breath and rang the bell. James opened the door himself. He was in his wheelchair, wearing a light dress shirt and dark pants. His hair was combed back, his eyes studying Anna attentively. "Good morning, Anna." "Good morning, Mr. Dalton. Please, call me James." He looked down and saw Mia hiding behind her mother. "And hello, Mia, good to see you again." The girl peeked out from behind Anna with a shy smile. "Hi, Uncle Jimmy." Anna felt her cheeks burn. "Mia, don't be rude. It's Mr. Dalton." "It's okay," James interrupted, and there was something soft in his voice. "Uncle Jimmy is perfect." He made space for them to enter. The penthouse was exactly as Anna imagined. Light marble floors, huge windows with views of the city, modern and expensive furniture, artwork on the walls, everything impeccable, everything organized, but also empty. No family photos, no clutter, no signs that anyone really lived there. "I know you must be wondering why I specifically requested you," James began, wheeling toward the living room. "The truth is, your daughter did something very special for me the other day, and I'd like to repay it somehow." Anna blinked, surprised. "Repay, sir? I don't understand." "I'll be direct. I want to hire you to work here every day. The salary will be double what you earn now, with all benefits included." Anna felt her legs weaken. This couldn't be real. Double? But why? "I haven't done anything to deserve this." "You don't need to have done anything. I want to do this." He hesitated, and for the first time, he seemed unsure. "But there's one condition." Of course, she knew there was a catch. No one offered that much money without wanting something in return. "What condition?" she asked, her voice coming out harder than intended. "That you bring Mia with you every day." Anna blinked. Sure, she'd misheard. "Bring Mia? Yes, I know you have no one to leave her with, and I'd really like her to be here." Mia tugged at her mother's hand excitedly. "Really, Uncle Jimmy? I can come here every day? If your mom agrees?" "Yes." Anna looked at this wealthy man in his wheelchair, in his luxurious apartment, and saw something she hadn't expected: loneliness. A deep loneliness no money in the world could cure. "Why are you doing this?" she asked softly. James looked at Mia, who was already exploring the room with curious eyes. "Because your daughter treated me like a human being, and it's been a long time since anyone did that." The words hit Anna hard. She'd always known rich people had their problems, but she'd never stopped to think about the isolation James must feel. Trapped in a chair, avoided by everyone, treated as an object of pity or financial interest. "Okay," she said, her voice trembling. "I accept." In the first week, Anna worked efficiently and quietly. She cleaned every room carefully, organized, kept everything spotless. But what really transformed that penthouse was Mia's presence. The girl couldn't stay still for long. She explored every corner, asked questions about everything, filled the silence with her cheerful voice. James, used to spending entire days without hearing a word that wasn't from employees asking about work, suddenly found himself wrapped in conversations about clouds, birds, and cartoons. "Uncle Jimmy, why do you have so many books?" Mia asked on the third day, pointing to the library that covered an entire wall of the living room. "Because I like to read," he replied, wheeling over to her. "Have you read all of them?" "Most of them, yes." "Wow, you must be really smart." James laughed, a short, almost surprised laugh, as if he'd forgotten how. "I'm not sure if I'm smart. I just like stories. I like them too. My mum tells me stories before bed. Want me to tell you one?" And so, for the first time in decades, James Dalton listened to a story about princesses and dragons told by a 5-year-old girl who gestured wildly and changed voices for the characters. It was the best story he'd heard in a long time. Anna watched from the kitchen, where she wiped the granite counter. She still didn't know what to think of the situation. James was kind, respectful, never made absurd demands, but she knew the world well. She knew rich men could be dangerous, especially to women in vulnerable positions like hers. Still, there was something genuine in how he interacted with Mia. He didn't fake interest. He didn't tolerate the girl's presence just out of politeness. He truly seemed happy, as if Mia brought something to his life that had been missing for a long time. On the fourth day, Mia found a pack of colorful stickers in her backpack. They were stickers of flowers, stars and butterflies that Anna had bought at a dollar store. "Uncle Jimmy, can I decorate your chair?" she asked, her eyes sparkling. James looked at the motorized chair that cost more than a standard car. "Decorate it?" "Yes, with stickers. It'll make it prettier and happier." He should have said no. That chair was imported, custom-made, worth a fortune. But when he saw Mia's hopeful face, the words just wouldn't come. "You can." Mia squealed with joy and started sticking them on carefully. Pink flowers on the side, gold stars on the armrests, colorful butterflies on the back. When she finished, the chair looked completely different. It seemed like a child's chair, not a serious millionaire's, and James loved every inch of it. "It looks pretty, Mia," she declared, admiring her work. "Now, when people see your chair, they'll smile." Anna approached, worried. "Mr. James, I can remove the stickers. Mia shouldn't have done that without permission." "No," he said firmly. "Leave it, it's perfect." That night, after Anna and Mia left, James stared at the decorated chair. It was ridiculous, childish, completely unsuitable for a man in his position. But it was also the first time that object, which had defined him for so many years, seemed to have a life of its own. The next day, Mia brought a drawing she'd made at home. It was a stick figure in a wheelchair, with colorful flowers around it and a smiling sun in the sky. "That's you, Uncle Jimmy," she explained, handing him the paper. James held the drawing carefully, as if it were the most valuable thing in the world. "It's beautiful, Mia. Thank you. You can put it on the fridge, that's where my mum puts my drawings." For the first time in his life, James Dalton stuck a child's drawing on the door of his state-of-the-art stainless steel fridge. And every morning, when he got water, he looked at that drawing and smiled. Anna started noticing changes in James. He smiled more, talked more, seemed less distant, less closed off. The penthouse, once silent and cold, now had soft children's music playing, a girl's laughter echoing through the hallways, life pulsing between those expensive walls. One afternoon, while Mia drew on the living room floor, Anna was dusting the bookshelf when James approached. "Anna, can I ask you something?" She looked at him, a bit tense. "Sure. Are you afraid of me?" The question caught her off guard. "Afraid? Why?" "Because I notice you still keep your distance. You're careful with everything you say, everything you do. And I understand. given the situation, but I want you to know you can relax. I'd never do anything to harm you or Mia." Anna clutched the dusting cloth tightly, choosing her words carefully. "It's not fear exactly, it's caution. I've learned to be cautious, Mr. James. Women like me can't afford to trust easily." He nodded, understanding perfectly. "I respect that, and I'll prove I'm trustworthy, even if it takes time." In the following days, James kept his word. He respected Anna's boundaries, never invaded her space, never asked invasive questions. Slowly, she began to relax. She started seeing that he was just a lonely man who'd found a bit of joy in a child's presence. And something else began to happen, something neither of them expected. 3 weeks passed, and the routine was set. Anna arrived every morning at 8. Mia came skipping alongside, and James was already awake, waiting. He'd never admit it out loud, but those daily visits had become the best part of his day. Mia had a habit of running to him as soon as she entered, recounting everything that had happened since the day before. James listened to every word with genuine attention, asking questions, smiling at the funny stories. "Uncle Jimmy, did you know our neighbor, Mrs. Lopez, has a cat with only 3 legs? Mia told him excitedly one Monday. "Really? What's its name?" "Tripod, because of the 3 legs. He's so cool, but my mum won't let me have a cat." "And why not?" "Because our apartment is too small and we barely have money for food." Mia's brutal honesty always caught James off guard. She had no filters, didn't know how to lie or hide reality. Anna turned red with embarrassment hearing her daughter talk about money, but James just smiled gently. "I understand having a pet is a big responsibility." Later, while Mia drew, James called Anna for a private talk in the study. "Anna, I need to discuss something important." She felt her stomach tighten. Was he going to fire them? "Yes, sir. I've noticed Mia isn't going to school. She's old enough for kindergarten." Anna looked down, ashamed. "Yes, she is, but the public schools near where we live are full. I got a spot in one that's far away, but I can't drop her off and pick her up every day because of work, and I don't have money for private school. What if I took care of that?" "How so?" "I know an excellent school nearby, Pine Grove Academy. I can enroll Mia and cover all expenses, transportation, supplies, uniform, everything." Anna felt tears burn in her eyes. "Mr. James, I can't accept that. You're already doing too much for us. Please, don't see it as charity, see it as an investment. Mia's an incredible kid. She deserves the best education possible. But why? Why are you doing all this?" James paused, choosing his words. "Because for the first time in many years, I wake up excited to start the day. Because when I hear Mia's laughter filling the house, I remember life can be light, and because you two gave me something I thought I'd never have. True companionship." Tears finally streamed down Anna's face. "I don't know what to say. Say yes. Let me do this for her, for you." Anna wiped her tears with the back of her hand. "Okay, I accept. But on one condition." "What?" "That you let me pay you back someday when I can, even if it takes years." James smiled. "Deal." A week later, Mia was enrolled at Pine Grove Academy, a private institution known for its excellence. She got a new uniform, new backpack, full supplies. On her first day, she was so excited she could barely stay still. "Uncle Jimmy, I'm going to learn to read and write and math too. You'll be the best student in class, I'm sure. And I'm going to make friends, lots of friends." James felt a pang of envy. Mia had such ease making friends, connecting with people, something that had always been impossible for him. The weeks passed, and life changed for everyone. Mia came home from school full of stories. James listened attentively, helped with homework, taught new words, explained concepts she didn't understand. Anna watched with a mix of gratitude and confusion. She couldn't understand how a man so wealthy, so distant from her world, could be so kind, so present in the life of a girl who had nothing to do with him. One afternoon, while Mia was at school and Anna cleaned the living room, James called her. "Anna, can I ask a personal question?" She stopped what she was doing and looked at him. "Sure. Mia's father, is he in her life?" Anna tensed immediately. "No, he left when he found out I was pregnant. Never showed up again. I'm so sorry. Don't be. Mia and I are fine on our own. We don't need him." But her voice trembled a bit, revealing an old pain that hadn't fully healed. "You're an incredible mother. James said sincerely. Mia's lucky to have you. Thanks. And she's lucky to have you too. The words hung in the air, loaded with meaning, because the truth was, James had become more than a boss. He was a constant presence in Mia's life, someone who cared, who was there, who made a difference. Later that week, Mia was doing a school activity about family. She needed to draw the important people in her life. She drew her mum first, with long hair and a big smile. Then herself, tiny, next to Anna. Without hesitation, she drew James in his wheelchair with colourful stickers and a smile on his face. When the teacher asked who it was, Mia replied naturally, "It's Uncle Jimmy. He's my family too." The teacher didn't question it, just praised the nice drawing. But when Mia showed it to James, he needed a moment to compose himself, because in that simple drawing, made with crayons and markers, there was something he'd never had: belonging. He was part of something, an improbable, unconventional, but real family. And that meant more than any professional achievement, more than any award, more than all the money he'd accumulated. That night, alone in the silent penthouse, James looked at the drawing on the fridge and let the tears fall freely. Aunt Caroline Dalton hadn't visited her nephew in months. At 58, she was an elegant woman with rigid posture and a piercing gaze. She'd raised James since he was 9, after his parents died in a car accident. She loved him deeply, but that love came wrapped in layers of protection that sometimes suffocated. That Thursday, she decided on a surprise visit. She had keys to the penthouse and didn't think it necessary to call. When she entered, she heard voices from the living room, voices she didn't recognize. Caroline walked quietly down the hall and stopped at the living room door. What she saw left her stunned. James was on the floor. He'd gotten out of his chair and was sitting on the soft rug, surrounded by colorful building blocks. Beside him, a small girl built a tower, laughing every time the blocks fell, and a woman in a cleaning uniform organized books on the shelf, occasionally glancing at the scene with a soft smile. "Careful, Mia, that tower's getting too tall," James warned, but he was smiling. "I can do it, Uncle Jimmy, watch this." The tower collapsed in a clatter of colorful plastic. Mia burst into giggles, and James laughed with her, a sound Caroline hadn't heard in years. "Who are you people?" Caroline asked in a harsh voice. Anna turned immediately, startled. Mia looked at the strange woman curiously, and James closed his eyes, knowing trouble was coming. "Aunt Caroline," he said, trying to keep his voice calm. "I didn't know you were coming today, clearly." She entered the room with firm steps, looking around with disapproval. "What's going on here?" Anna stood quickly, smoothing her uniform. "I'm Anna, ma'am. I work here as the cleaner." "And that child? Why is there a child in my nephew's home?" "She's my daughter, Mia. Mister. James allowed me to bring her." Caroline looked at James incredulously. "You allowed this? Can I speak with you in private?" He sighed, knowing there was no avoiding this conversation. "Anna, can you take Mia to the kitchen? Make a snack." Anna nodded quickly, taking Mia's hand. The girl looked back worriedly. "Uncle Jimmy, are you in trouble?" "No, dear, everything will be fine." Once they were alone, Caroline exploded. "What are you thinking? Allowing an employee to bring her child to work, that's completely inappropriate." "It's not inappropriate. It's an agreement we made." "An agreement? James, you can't mix your personal life with employees. That never ends well." "Aunt, you don't understand." "I understand perfectly. That woman is taking advantage of you." She saw a rich, lonely man and spotted an opportunity. The aunt's words hurt. "Anna's not like that. She's a decent, hard-working person. That's what they all say." "James, I've seen this happen before. Remember Patricia, Emily? They all approached you pretending interest, and in the end, they just wanted your money. Anna's different." "Oh, really? And this charade of bringing the daughter is the oldest trick in the book, using a cute kid to soften your heart, gain your trust, and then—" "Enough," James shouted. Caroline fell silent, shocked. He'd never shouted at her. "Mia's not a trick. She's a 5-year-old who treats me like a normal person, who isn't afraid of my chair, who doesn't pity me. Do you know when someone last did that?" Caroline took a deep breath, trying to calm down. "I know you feel lonely, my dear, but there are better ways to handle it. Therapy, support groups. I don't need therapy, I need real companionship. And that's what Mia and Anna gave me. You're deluding yourself. That woman is using her daughter to manipulate you emotionally. Anna barely talks to me. She's professional, respectful, keeps her distance. If she wanted to manipulate me, it wouldn't be like this. Caroline sat on the couch, massaging her temples. James, I just want to protect you. You're all I have, and I appreciate that, Aunt. But I don't need protection from people who only want to do me good. You can't know their real intentions. I can, because for the first time in years, I don't feel invisible in this house. I feel alive. The words hung in the air. Caroline looked at her nephew and saw something in his face she hadn't seen in a long time: hope, life, color in cheeks that had always been pale from loneliness. But fear was stronger than any evidence. I'm going to investigate that woman, Caroline said firmly. I'll find out everything about her, and if I uncover anything suspicious, you won't find anything, because there's nothing to find. Caroline stood and walked to the door. I hope you're right, James, because if you're wrong, you'll be the one to suffer, and I won't let that happen again. She left, slamming the door. James remained alone in the living room, building blocks scattered on the floor, Mia's voice echoing from the kitchen. Minutes later, Anna appeared at the door, hesitant. Mr. James, if this is causing problems with your family, I can find another job. I don't want. No, he interrupted firmly. You and Mia stay. My aunt will have to accept it. But deep down, James knew this was far from over. Caroline's investigation lasted a week. She hired a private detective who dug into Anna's life from top to bottom, and when the results came, Caroline felt frustrated. Anna Thompson was exactly who she claimed to be. A cleaner for 8 years, no significant debts, no criminal record, no suspicious relationships. She paid rent on time when she could, sometimes late when money was tight. She volunteered at community bake sales at the local church. She was known as hardworking, honest, and devoted to her daughter. There was absolutely nothing wrong with her, but Caroline wasn't convinced. In her experience, people always had ulterior motives, always, especially when a rich, vulnerable man was involved. She returned to the penthouse on a Friday afternoon. This time, she rang the bell. Anna answered, and Caroline noticed the immediate discomfort on the woman's face. Good afternoon. I'm here to see my nephew. He's in the study. I'll let him know. No need. I know the way. Caroline entered without waiting for permission. Mia was sitting on the couch doing homework. When she saw Caroline, the girl smiled politely. Hi, you're Uncle Jimmy's aunt. Caroline looked at the child and tried not to be charmed by the innocent smile. Yes, I am. My name's Mia. Nice to meet you. The girl's manners surprised Caroline. She'd expected a rude, spoiled child, but Mia was polite and well-behaved. Nice to meet you too. James appeared at the study door. Aunt Caroline, again without warning. We need to talk in private, he sighed, but gestured to the study. Caroline entered and closed the door behind her. I investigated Anna, she began without preamble. James closed his eyes, controlling his anger. Of course you did, and I found nothing at all. She's clean, I told you. But that doesn't mean her intentions are pure, James. People can be very good at hiding who they really are, or maybe, just maybe, she is exactly who she seems, a working mom trying to give her daughter the best. Caroline sat in the chair across from his desk. I know you've grown fond of the girl, and I understand. She's sweet, polite, but you can't let your emotions cloud your judgment. My emotions aren't clouding anything. For the first time in years, I'm feeling real emotions, and that's not bad, Aunt. That's not healthy. James, you know how the world works. You know people will try to take advantage of you. And you know not everyone is like that, but you choose to see the worst in people. Caroline fell silent, struck by the words because he was right. After so many disappointments, so many betrayals, she'd lost the ability to trust anyone new. I just want to protect you, she said, her voice softer. I know, but sometimes too much protection suffocates. Sometimes you need to let me live my life, even if it means taking risks. And if you get hurt, then I'll heal, like I always have. But I won't live in fear forever. Caroline looked at her nephew and saw the determination in his eyes. James had always been stubborn, even as a child. Once he decided something, it was nearly impossible to change his mind. Fine, she said finally. I'll try to accept this. That's all I ask. but both knew accepting wouldn't be easy. In the following days, Caroline started showing up more often. She always found excuses, needed to drop off documents, wanted to lunch with her nephew, had to discuss foundation matters. But the truth was, she was watching, studying Anna and Mia, looking for signs of falseness, manipulation, hidden interest. And to her frustration, she found nothing. Anna worked diligently, never asked for more than agreed. She kept a respectful distance from James. Mia was spontaneous, affectionate, completely natural in her interactions. No calculation, no acting, it was all genuine. That bothered Caroline more than any evidence of a scam, because it meant she was wrong. And Caroline Dalton didn't like being wrong. One afternoon, Caroline arrived earlier than usual. James wasn't home, he'd gone to a meeting. Only Anna and Mia were there. Anna was cleaning the living room windows when she heard the bell. When she opened it and saw Caroline, her heart raced. "Good afternoon, ma'am." "Good afternoon, Anna. Is James here?" "No, ma'am. He went to a meeting. He should be back in an hour." Caroline could have left, but instead she entered. "I'll wait." Anna tensed. Being alone with this woman who clearly disliked her was uncomfortable. Mia was in the kitchen, eating cookies and drawing. When she saw Caroline enter, she smiled. "Hi, Aunt. Want to see my drawing?" Caroline looked at the paper. It was a drawing of 3 people, a woman, a girl, and a man in a wheelchair, all holding hands, with a giant sun in the sky. "Who are these people?" Caroline asked, though she knew. "It's me, my mum, and Uncle Jimmy. We're a family." Family. This child really believed that. "Mia, go play in your room," Anna said firmly. "But Mom, now." The girl gathered her drawings and left, sensing the tension. Anna and Caroline were left alone in the kitchen. The silence was heavy. "You need to stop this," Caroline said finally. "Stop what?" "This family fantasy. You're putting dangerous ideas in your daughter's head." Anna felt anger rise but kept her voice calm. "I didn't put anything in her head. She's a child. Kids form bonds easily, bonds that will break when this whole situation ends. And who said it's going to end?" Caroline stepped forward, her eyes hard. "Because it always does. Do you think you're the first person to try getting close to James, gaining his trust with compassion or friendship? I'm not trying anything. I'm just doing my job." "Doing your job? You let your daughter spend hours with him. You allow her to call him uncle. You accept him paying for her school. That's not just doing your job." "Mister," James offered. "I didn't ask for any of it. But you accepted easily, didn't you?" Anna felt tears burn, but she wouldn't give Caroline the satisfaction of seeing her cry. "I accepted because my daughter deserves a better chance in life, because I've worked since I was 15 and never could give her what she deserves. So yes, when someone offered help, I accepted, not for me, for her. And James, what does he gain from this? Companionship. Someone who treats him like a person, not a rich man in a wheelchair. Someone who doesn't run from him or pity him. You don't understand what you're doing to him. You're giving him hope for something that will never happen." "What hope? I never promised anything, never implied anything." Caroline fell silent, studying Anna with piercing eyes. "Do you know he's falling in love? Don't you?" Anna froze. "What?" "Not just with you, with the idea of you both, the fantasy of having a family, of not being alone, and when that bubble bursts, it'll destroy him." Anna felt like the ground had vanished beneath her. I didn't know. Now you do. So you need to decide, are you going to keep feeding that fantasy, or do the right thing and walk away before it's too late? Caroline left the kitchen, leaving Anna alone with the weight of those words. That night, Anna barely slept. She lay staring at Mia, sleeping peacefully beside her, and thought about everything Caroline had said. Was she being selfish? Was she taking advantage of James's loneliness? Would Mia suffer when it all ended? The questions swirled in her mind without answers. The next day, Anna was different, quieter, more distant. James noticed immediately. "Anna, is everything okay?" "Yes, sir, just tired." But he knew a lie when he saw one. Something was wrong. Mia was quieter too, as if sensing her mother's tension and not knowing how to react. The week passed in a strange atmosphere. Anna kept her distance, avoided long conversations, finished work, and left as quickly as possible. James felt the distancing like physical pain. On Friday, he couldn't take it anymore. "Anna, I need to talk to you." It's about my aunt, isn't it? She stopped cleaning and looked at him. She said some things that made me think. What things? Anna chose her words carefully. That maybe I'm hurting you, giving hope for something that doesn't exist. James felt his heart tighten. Hope for what? For family, for belonging, for not being alone. He was silent for a long moment. And if I tell you those hopes are real? Anna looked at him, surprised. Mr. James, I know it seems crazy. I know it doesn't make sense. But in these months, you two have become the best part of my life, and I don't want this to end. But it has to end sooner or later. This situation isn't sustainable. Why not? Because we're from different worlds. Because your aunt is right. This is just a fantasy. And if it wasn't? What if we could build something real? Anna shook her head, tears finally falling. I can't do this. I can't let Mia get more attached, only to suffer when it all falls apart. It won't fall apart. It will. It always does for people like me. James reached out his hand, but Anna stepped back. I need to go. I need to think. She took Mia's hand and left, leaving James alone in a silence that felt heavier than ever. That night, he finally confronted Caroline. She was at her own home when James showed up unannounced. The expression on his face was contained fury. What did you say to Anna? Caroline wasn't surprised. She knew this conversation was coming. The truth. I told her she's giving you false hopes, that this family fantasy will end up hurting everyone. You had no right. I had every right. I'm your aunt, your guardian. I'm a 42-year-old man. I don't need a guardian. Caroline stood, facing her nephew. You do, because you're blind. Blind from loneliness, from desperation to have someone treat you well. I'm not blind. I'm seeing clearly for the first time in years. Seeing that a cleaner and her kid will vanish from your life as soon as something better comes along. Anna's not like that. How do you know? You barely know her. I do know her. I know who she is, and I know she's the only person who's made me feel human again. Caroline fell silent, struck by the words. I was dying, aunt, not physically, but inside. Every day was the same as the last, empty, meaningless. And then Mia showed up and asked me to dance, and everything changed. Tears started falling down his face. She treated me like a person, not a poor invalid. And Anna works harder than anyone I've known. She never asked for anything, never took advantage, just accepted my help because she wanted the best for her daughter. Caroline felt something break inside her. I just want to protect you. Then protect me by letting me be happy. Protect me by allowing me to have the family I've always wanted. He turned his chair and left, leaving Caroline alone with the weight of her actions. 3 days passed in silence. Anna didn't show up for work, didn't answer calls, just disappeared. James was desperate. He thought about going to her home, but didn't have the exact address. Thought about hiring someone to find her, but that would seem too invasive. He was trapped in his own penthouse, surrounded by the silence that used to be normal but now felt unbearable. It was Caroline who finally made a decision. She got Anna's address from the cleaning company. She didn't tell James, just went. The neighborhood was modest, very different from the luxury world Caroline was used to. Small houses, narrow streets, kids playing on the sidewalk. She found the number and knocked. Anna answered, her eyes red from crying. Mrs. Caroline, may I come in? Anna hesitated but made space. The apartment was tiny, 1 bedroom, a living room that doubled as a kitchen, a small bathroom, but it was clean, organized, with touches of care in every detail. Mia was sitting on the floor, drawing quietly. When she saw Caroline, she didn't smile like usual. Hi, she said softly. Hi, Mia. Anna sent the girl to the bedroom. The 2 women were left alone. I came to apologize, Caroline said without beating around the bush. Anna blinked, surprised. What? I was wrong about you, about your intentions, about everything. Ma'am, please, let me finish. Caroline took a deep breath. I've spent my life protecting James, watching people take advantage of him, hurt him, treat him as less than human, and that left me bitter, distrustful. I forgot there's still goodness in the world. Tears returned to Anna's eyes. You were just protecting him. I was but protecting him from the wrong person, because you and your daughter gave him something I never could, true joy. Anna wiped her tears. I don't want to hurt him. I never did. I know, and that's why I'm here to ask you to come back, to give a chance to this family you're building. He opened the door and saw the three of them there, Anna, Mia, and Caroline, together. Mia jumped into his lap, hugging him tightly. "Uncle Jimmy, I missed you so much." James held the girl, tears falling freely. "I missed you too, little one. I missed you too." Anna approached hesitantly. "Mr. James, I'm so sorry for everything." "No, I'm sorry. I should have been clearer about what I feel, about what I want. And what I want is for you to stay not as employee and boss, but as a real family." Anna felt tears return. "I want that too." Caroline watched from the door, a soft smile on her lips. Mia tugged at James's arm. "Uncle Jimmy, you're my hero, did you know that?" she said with a huge smile. James couldn't hold back the tears. He hugged the girl who'd changed everything, the girl who'd seen him when no one else did, who'd asked him to dance when everyone avoided him. Anna joined the hug, Caroline too. And there, in that apartment that had always been silent and empty, there was finally life, love, family. Because sometimes the best stories start with a simple invitation to dance, and sometimes one dance can rewrite entire lives. 5 years later, the penthouse in Manhattan was unrecognizable. Mia's drawings covered the fridge, children's books scattered on the couch, small sneakers tossed in the entryway, a pink bike leaned against the hallway wall. James woke to the smell of pancakes from the kitchen. Anna was at the stove, hair in a messy bun, wearing an old t-shirt of his. "Good morning," he said, approaching. Anna turned and smiled, that smile that still made his heart race. "Good morning, love. Sleep well?" He took her hand and pulled her in for a quick kiss. After 3 years of marriage, those simple gestures were still magical. "Where's Mia?" "Still sleeping. She stayed up late, finishing her science project." James went to the room that used to be an empty office. Mia was curled under the blanket, only her curls visible on the pillow. "Mia, wake up. There are pancakes." She opened one eye sleepily. "Chocolate chip pancakes? Is there any other kind?" Mia jumped out of bed and threw her arms around his neck. "Good morning, Dad." That word still melted James completely. He'd officially adopted Mia 2 years ago. The judge had asked if she agreed to the adoption, and she'd replied, "He's been my dad forever, we're just making it official." No dry eyes in that courtroom. During breakfast, Mia excitedly talked about her science project. "And after school, Grandma Caroline's picking me up for the movies," she said with a mouthful of pancakes. "Swallow first, then talk," Anna gently scolded. Caroline had transformed completely. After accepting Anna and Mia into the family, she became the grandmother they'd never had. She took Mia on outings, helped with homework, attended every school play. "Can I invite Valentina to sleep over tonight?" Mia asked. Valentina was her best friend since first grade at Pine Grove Academy. "Sure, but you have to promise to actually sleep at some point," James said jokingly. After breakfast, while Mia watched cartoons, Anna and James sat on the balcony. She nestled in his lap. "Are you happy?" he asked softly. "More than I ever imagined possible." "I've been thinking about that conversation we had last week." James looked up at her. "About having another child. Yes, I know you said you needed time to think, but I've thought about it." His heart raced. "And I think Mia would love a little brother or sister." James felt his eyes well with emotion. "Really?" "Really. But on one condition." "What?" "Stop asking me every 3 days. When it happens, it happens." He laughed and pulled her in for a long kiss. Mia appeared at the balcony door, covering her eyes dramatically. "Ew, you guys never get tired of kissing?" Anna laughed. "When I grow up, I'm never kissing anyone. It's gross." "You will," James said. "And I'll have to chase all the boys away." "Dad, I'm 10, I'm never having a boyfriend." They laughed together, and Mia joined the hug. The three stayed there as the morning sun lit the balcony. Later, Caroline arrived to pick up Mia, bringing gift bags as always. "Aunt, you spoil that girl too much," James teased, but he was smiling. "It's a grandmother's privilege to spoil her granddaughter." Mia grabbed the bags curiously. "A book, the new one in the series I wanted." After they left, Anna and James spent the afternoon on the couch. She lay with her head in his lap. "Remember the day we met?" Anna asked. "Like it was yesterday, Mia asking me to dance in the middle of that snobby gala. I was terrified. I thought you'd have me fired. And I thought I was dreaming. No one had ever treated me that way." Anna turned to look at him. Mia always knew how to see people for who they really are, not what they seem. I was so unhappy before you two, he confessed. I didn't realize how much I was just existing, not living. And now I wake up grateful every day, grateful for you, for Mia, for a family. Anna leaned up and kissed him tenderly. I'm grateful too. You gave us so much. No, you gave me everything. You gave me life. When night came and Mia returned with Caroline, the girl recounted everything about the movie. Valentina arrived soon after, and the two ran to the room. During dinner, with everyone around the table, James looked at these people and felt his chest tighten with emotion. Anna beside him, Mia chattering excitedly, Caroline smiling warmly. This was family, this was love. What are you thinking? Anna asked softly. How lucky I am. We all are. After dinner, James and Anna went back to the balcony. Do you think Mia will remember all this when she grows up? He asked. She will, and she'll tell her kids about the dad who loved her unconditionally. I made that promise the moment she asked me to dance. Anna rested her head on his shoulder. You know what's funny? I spent so much time scared you'd leave that you'd realize you could have someone better. You're my world. You're my whole world. When they went to bed, James stopped by Mia's room. The girls were asleep. He entered quietly and tucked the blanket over her, kissing her forehead gently. Good night, my princess, he whispered. In bed, holding Anna, James thought about how unpredictable life was, how one simple moment could change everything. He'd spent 40 years believing he was destined for loneliness. Then Mia appeared in her simple dress and radiant smile, proving him wrong. Love didn't see wheelchairs, didn't see social differences, didn't see obstacles. Love just saw people, saw hearts. And that night, surrounded by the people he loved, James Dalton finally understood the most important truth. He wasn't defined by the chair, not by the money, he was defined by the love he gave and received. And in that, he was the richest man in the world. So, what did you think of the story? Leave your opinion in the comments, we love hearing what you think. Don't forget to like the video to support us and subscribe to the channel. Until next time,